When I first read this story, I did not believe it and I still pretty much don't. Leftists and the media are now claiming that President Trump tears to shreds important White House documents that are required to be preserved under the law. Whether it happened or not, Democrats are incensed about it like always. Veteran records management analyst Solomon Lardy is claiming that White House staffers like himself have been tasked with going around and picking up the pieces of documents and taping them back together like a jigsaw puzzle, according to Politico. He also whines that he was paid an annual salary of $65,969 to do this. Sounds like he wasn't happy with his pay. Lardy spent the first 5 months of Trump's presidency taping documents back together after Trump tore them up in anger, or so he claims. I can see the president tearing up things from time to time out of anger and frustration, but this guy and others are claiming he does it all the time, and I just don't buy that. Trump is far too professional for that, and he's not dumb, emotionally or otherwise. Not only does this guy say Trump tears up the documents, he says he shreds them into confetti-sized bits. I don't believe that claim whatsoever. That would not be out of anger, that would be time-consuming and serve no purpose whatsoever. This entire claim is to assert that Trump is in violation of the Presidential Records Act, which says the White House must preserve all memos, letters, emails, and papers that the president deals with and store them in the National Archives as historical records. Here's why I think this guy and his cohorts are claiming this. Hillary Clinton actually violated that act over and over again, and it can be proven. She had staffers shred documents, and when she deleted emails and texts, she was violating the law. So tit for tat, they think Hillary's issue is going to get her nailed eventually and want to spread the grief to President Trump. But no one is buying what they are ridiculously selling here. Under the Presidential Records Act, the White House has to preserve any paper the president touches for historical records. After Trump reads anything on paper, he just tears it up, like a toddler. Apparently, instead of telling him to stop, they just tape it back together. Ken Tremendous, at Ken Tremendous, June 10, 2018 trending. De Niro was warned about trashing Trump at Tony Awards and didn't listen, got what he deserved on stage. This sounds like sour grapes as well, one of Lardy's associates, Reginald Young Jr., who worked as a senior records management analyst, said that during over 2 decades of government service, he had never been asked to do such a thing. We had to endure this under the Trump administration, Young said. I'm looking at my director and saying, are you guys serious? We're making more than $60,000 a year, we need to be doing far more important things than this. It felt like the lowest form of work you can take on without having to empty the trash cans. Politico says that staffers knew they could not change President Trump, so they just quietly went about taping together documents. None of this sounds legit to me. Allegedly, staffers would collect pieces of paper from the Oval Office and the president's private residence and send them to records management for Lardy and his colleagues to reassemble. And wonder of wonders, Politico is citing 2 disgruntled staffers that have since been fired and people familiar with the processes. Right. From people, we got Scotch tape, the clear kind, Lardy told Politico. You found pieces and taped them back together, and then you gave it back to the supervisor. Lardy, who said his entire department was on taping duty during the early months of Trump's presidency, told Politico that the papers included newspaper clips on which Trump had written notes, invitations, and letters from constituents and lawmakers. I had a letter from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, He tore it up, Lardy said. It was the craziest thing ever. He ripped papers into tiny pieces. Lardy said staffers in the records department were still being tasked with taping back together documents as recently as this spring. But that team grew smaller after Lardy and many other career officials were abruptly terminated from their positions earlier this year without any warning or explanation as to why. Probably because they were leaking to the media made-up stories and blabbing when they shouldn't have to hurt the president. Just my opinion on the whole matter. This story is bonkers https://t. Co-4 Opto, John Patrick Pullen, at Pullen, June 10, 2018. Then Politico goes on to relate things they have absolutely no proof of. It's rumors and gossip, and not real journalism again. They claim other White House staffers have been demeaned in different ways and they use former communications director Hope Hicks as an example. She was charged with fetching coffee and steaming Trump's pants while he was still wearing them, according to a recent tell-all book by former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski. Let's just say that I have a very hard time believing that as well. But say it was true. You know, Hicks wasn't the only one that fetched coffee or helped Trump with minor details so he could go about his business. This is silly. On Twitter, Democrats had a collective meltdown, feigning outrage over this. That's so hypocritical considering what Hillary Clinton actually did as opposed to what they are making up and accusing the president of. These people need to seriously get a life and some solid facts for a change. By the way, you want to talk about the swamp? Lardy had 30 years under his belt of working in the government. He needed to be cleaned out and let go. And you'll be surprised that these same lackeys had nothing but praise for the Obama administration and their record-keeping. Wonder if they helped shred stuff, delete texts and emails for Hillary and others? I guess you could call that organized, right? Staffer, hey, so there's a law that we have to preserve your presidential records, so you can't tear up documents. Normal president, okay. Trump continues to rip up paper like a toddler, turns a government staffer into a guy who pieces together confetti https://t. Cozy NQUV402EC, Matt Fuller, at Metfuller, June 11, 2018. Per Politico, Lardy, 54, and Young, 48, were career government officials who worked together in records management until this spring, when both were abruptly terminated from their jobs. Both are now unemployed and still full of questions about why they were stripped of their badges with no explanation and marched off of the White House grounds by the Secret Service. As I said, I'm sure there was a very good reason for it, and this Politico piece goes to prove my point. Both had to sign resignation letters and were terminated immediately. Young described the firing as traumatic and frustratingly Kafkaesque. The only excuse that I've ever gotten from them, he said, was that you serve at the pleasure of the president. And that's more than enough reason for them to be gone. This is a fascinating and bizarre story. Why were these civil servants fired without explanation? https://t.co/a.d.ncc8bbm2 Evan Osnos, at Osnos, June 10, 2018. But who will tape Trump's country back together? Jeremy Neuberger, at Jeremy Neuberger, June 11, 2018. Leaving aside Trump's obsession with ripping up paper, this story involves the firing of career White House employees. When Bill Clinton did the same thing in 1993, Congress and an independent counsel investigated Travelgate for years. Number double standard https://t.co/nqks6a80bx Chris Lu at CHRISLU44, June 11, 2018. Happy Monday. White House aides have to tape up documents President Trump rips up, despite being told that's against the law.